it's good to have you back. You guys are joining us. This is Firecrackers, and now we are moving to discuss about NLC's proposed indefinite strike. Is it necessary or not? Should they have given the federal government more time? As it is a new administration, and things are just starting to settle down. So now I'd like to call on Dr. Kende Tiger to share his views with us on this particular topic. The NLC strike, do you think that it is too soon, the one they're about to commence on in 2 days' time? Or perhaps should they have dialogued more and given the federal government more time? Please
It's
go.
not an alternative to correct the errors of government, because one, I will say this categorically, that whenever the labour they went on strike, it is the poor masses that suffered a lot. Because considering the leadership of the labourers, all the leadership, they are rich and they are worthy enough to take their children to private schools. And when they went on strike, it is the children of the proletariats that will suffer the strike so much. So the negative impact of going on strike nationwide is higher than the positive outcome of that strike. For that purpose, I want to appeal to the labour and the federal government to continue dialogue. The labour should think out of their box, thinking other alternative irrespective of what they are fighting for. They shouldn't be fighting for increment of salary and welfare of workers alone. There are a lot of things that Nigerians are suffering for today. One, the unemployment in our society is very high. So when we're talking about salary or living wage and all that for only workers, when we have over 120% of Nigerians are jobless, it will not still solve the problem of this country if salaries are increased and we remain unemployed in this our country. And I want to say this categorically to the government, that they shouldn't use words of threat, court, and others to threaten the labourers, because the labourers are not of concern to Nigerians. And one of the problems that the labourers are still having is that all the leadership of this labour, they came into power through the support of the government. I can remember vividly during the military eras, where labour were labourers, our masses were joining hands with them to fight against bad government. But today you see, whenever they go on dialogue with government, as soon as they come back with government, whatever proposed strike they have been proposing will just be lifted without considering the masses. So strike is not an alternative at all. It will cripple our economy, and the proletariats, which is the poor masses, will suffer it mostly. Because I remember vividly where during the long strike that the nation went on, most of those children could not return back to school. Some of them got unwanted pregnancy. Some of them out of house, they joined bad gang. Some of them joined courtesy, armed robbery, and kidnapping, and that was how they end their life. So I want to appeal to labour that strike is not an alternative to criticize, neither to correct the errors of government, but in dialoguing with this government can bring a solution to it. Because one, we have all our refineries that are not working, they are dilapidated. And if all these refineries are put in place, all these economic issues we are crying for will be reduced drastically. Let me tell you an example. People from the south, whenever they travel to the north to get food stuff, on the road, because of the bad road that we have, and they face kidnapping and security challenge on the vast of part of every road. So labour shouldn't be crying for only increment of fuel or palliative for only workers alone, but they should be clamoring for the development of the country and judicious use of our economy, so that Nigeria can experience a robust development from our leaders. But it's saddening my heart that the leaders that we have today, they were opportune to enjoy good government, but they could not replicate good government to the citizens of our country. So strike is not an alternative to correct or to challenge the government in order to increase salary, to make workers go home with a living wage, not a salary. Because salary is what they give to you at the end of the day that will not be enough for you to take care of your challenges. But when it becomes a living wage, it will be enough for you to take care of all challenges that you want to have taken care of within that particular period. where you got your salary from the government. And the issue of government, I can still tell you, and I remember that during the long strike, the government came up with no work, no pay, because the leadership of the laborers are no longer trustworthy. I am putting it before them that they were brought into office through the government support, not by the masses. And whenever you are contesting for any union office today, any position you are contesting for, if you are not being supported by the government, you will not emerge at the end of the day. And by the time that those that were supported by the government emerge, they will only cry foul, but not to change situation of the masses. So it's purely consequential, and it will be a regrettable action if the labor went on strike, because the proletariats, those proletariat children who are privileged to attend government schools, if they go on strike, and at the end of the day, I believe negative impact is higher than the positive impact on a strike in our nation.
And also, Dr. Adedeji, do you feel that increment in wages that NLC, part of the demands of NLC, that they feel that if the federal government does would ameliorate the suffering of the masters, how long do you see that working for? Is it feasible?
You know, I am not really a fan of labor when it comes to their demands for certain things, particularly when it comes to incremental salary. I don't believe in it. You know, because what I think when people fight for incremental salary and they get it, it gives them heightened popularity with them. Oh, when he was there, he fought for incremental. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't make sense at all. And why do I say that? If your salary is increased today, in another 3 months, you're going to come back to status quo. I think, and what I think they should apply their mind to now is, how do we make Nigerians' money work for Nigerians? You can go to hospital and get drugs and get prompt attention. Your child can go to school. You can have basic amenities around you. There is power, there is water. You know, those things are the things that when they increase your salary, you begin to spend money on those things to provide for yourself. So it doesn't make sense. You know, for me, the gentleman said they should go on strike. I pity labor. What else do we want them to do? There's no other instrument they can use against government. They'll be talking. I listened to the TUC or CFOS, I can't remember his name, when they spoke, and I pitied them. They have sat down with everyone. They even sat down with the president. They enumerated all the things. Nothing. And then since they came in and they talked, this is August, this is June that they've been talking, and August 2nd in particular that they met the president, nothing has happened. Look, the sense of urgency in this government is poor. Look at what happened in America. There was going to be a shutdown. Almost everything was abandoned by the legislative arm to deal with the fact that they mustn't have a shutdown until last night. They eventually got it, and then a few hours to the ultimatum, they signed a deal, a spending bill. But look at here. How many people do you see that are encumbered with the feeling that labor should not go on strike? It's a laissez-faire attitude. Oh, please don't go on strike. Think about the average Nigerian. Think about it, and yet the legislature is not subordinating his own salary. Before they went to break, they collected some millions. They say prayers in your, and then you want labor to just sit down, and Nigerians to work and watch. What work do they do to merit how much they spend? I'm at a loss. You see, the thing is because many of us who are elites do not get involved with labor. We do not encourage, I don't say about strike. Do we offer our service that advise them how to do these things? We don't. Why is it that labor talks to government talk? Why don't they go to National Assembly and sit in National Assembly and say, excuse me, what you earn, how would it almost every year they repair the roof of the National Assembly? And those things are in budget, and then you give them constituency allowance for what? To go and do the work of government or local government. I mean, we're not a serious people. And so because all these things are so disparate, you don't know how to hold on to something, so everybody loses control, and then neighbor says, look, what can I do? Strike is what I can do. The thing is, as a nation, as we the people, are we caught up in the moment to know that, look, these are the things we should ask for. When the Nigerian goes to the post office and he stands in the queue, begins to grumble, the moment he's answered, he goes away and he forgets until he comes back to the queue. We can't live like that. There must be a constancy, persistence in our way of asking for what is our right. The government knows that after 1 week, everybody will go back to it. So they just dance around.
And then just wait for the people themselves to calm down and go
And
back
that's
into what
it.
is
We
right.
go back.
Oh, quite sad. And it's even sadder that we've run out of time. Unfortunately, we never have enough time on the show. But then I guess it's a good thing because it means that we are talking about something very serious. So many thanks for sharing your views with us on the show today. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And that's Dr. Dupont Adedeji. He's a political analyst. And then we are also joined by Dr. Kehinde Tiger, who joined us live from Warri. He is the National President, Committee for Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. Many thanks for joining us on the show too.
Thank you.
Okay, alright, and this is where we will be drawing the curtain close on today's episode of Firecrackers.